Hello and welcome to this week's episode of In the Therapy Room, sponsored by Unisys Wellbeing. And today's guest is Annie Robinson, who I met to Let Women Speak and who supported me with my election campaign. I'm going to put her speech from Sheffield in there as well, so you can see what she said at Sheffield Let Women Speak.
Said that. Anyone else? Doing it. Hello! Politics! Can't believe I'm here. This morning I had my breakfast and I wasn't coming here. My friends are here. And I couldn't miss out, so I had to be here. I've never been to Sheffield. And now I'm here, and there's one big reason why I've never been to Sheffield. Because my abuser was from Sheffield. So that's why I've never been here. And now I'm taking Sheffield back from me. That man was relocated by his church. His church sent him to my town. He came to my church. He weaseled his way as far as my bedroom. That was when I was about 9. I know what a man is. He made every excuse. If all these excuses round here were around then, he'd have been doing that as well. I sent that man to prison. He did. He should have. He did what, a 4-year sentence, and he did 2 years. And I hope it was 2 years of hell. No woman has a penis.
I'm Annie. I live in the northeast. Not quite as close to Kelly as I'd like to be able to help her with things, but I'm willing to travel.
Yes, you do travel all over. So, shall we talk a little bit about how we met each other? Because you were involved in my election campaign, supporting me with that, weren't you?
Yeah,
And what sort of experience did you have being part of the team?
it's just been great from the very first time I went to Let Women Speak on my own. I've been to 3 on my own. I kept hunting for local turf. And then somehow, I don't know how I came about you, but to get in there and feel like I was being useful and helpful,
I think I
wasn't able to
shared it
stand
in some of the
myself.
WhatsApp groups that we're in.
I can't even remember how I got in a WhatsApp group.
It would have been Liz. She's always adding people.
Yeah. But that's been really good for me to get to know people and make connections, because there's nowhere. I haven't yet found anybody very local to myself.
Yeah. So what was your experience of being in the group and meeting other people who thought the same as you, other women who feel the same as you?
It's just completely liberating, isn't it? It's just I have struggled with groups of women. In fact, when I
Yeah.
was younger, I was I had a fear of middle-aged women, and now I am one. Due to my mum,
Yeah.
issues with my mum. But yeah, it's just great to be able to relax and be on the same page as people. Maybe not about everything, but it's just a feeling
That's
that
the
I haven't had
thing.
anywhere else.
Yeah. That's the thing about this group that we've got. It's it doesn't matter if you disagree. Everyone's so supportive, and I love that about the group. And all that emotional support that I had during the election campaign was amazing, because when I announced that I was going to stand as a candidate, like, publicly, that was quite exposing. I felt exposed. I wasn't sure what was going to happen. I was kind of
Yeah,
expecting to be targeted, but what actually happened, and I did get a little bit of targeting from the other side, if you like. But what was overwhelming was the support from women. Like I stepped in, it was like jumping off a cliff in a way, but I was caught by
I can
like
imagine.
thousands of women. It was so supportive, and I loved every minute of it because I connected with other women, like you say. And I think I've had difficulty in every group I've ever joined because I just don't fit in and I don't go along with groupthink. But this group of women that we've got in this WhatsApp group, it doesn't matter if we disagree. We're still positive
Yeah,
towards each other, and that's what I like about it.
yeah. I'm in some other groups as see behind. I like to knit. This is my
Yeah.
personal rainbow.
All right. So, is that a
It's a
knitted
scarf.
thing? Because you
Yeah,
can't tell on the camera. I wasn't sure if it was silk or it looks like
it was.
butterfly wings.
Well, I've actually found. I feel like this year or last year, last couple of years, I found my clan. I
Right.
found the women that I'm on the same page with, and I've also found the knitters that I'm on the same page with. And this shawl is from a free online knitting magazine. The pattern was, but it's kind of there's a bit of a funny story behind it. There was a miscount with the. It's a lot bigger than it looks. Miscount with the stitch count in the first place. But I carried on and I made it, and I just picked the next colour and picked the next colour and picked the next colour. But the magazine's called Blocked
Right.
because when you knit something, you block it, and also because of being blocked for that wrong think, you know. So I found my knitting friends, and now I found my political friends because I really wasn't that political until I went down this route of. I was looking into personality disorders when I found Kelly J. Kane.
Right.
Yesterday
So
I
was
had a
that
look
on
on
Turf
YouTube.
Talk? Was it on Turf Talk
Um,
that you rang into, or
it was when she very first started because I was already looking at personality disorders.
right?
She tagged one of her videos with gaslighting,
Right.
and I started to watch, and I think she was sitting in a room, like in a house, in the living room or something, in the lounge, with Dr. Julia Long, is it?
Yeah. She
And
was one of the candidates.
they were, yeah, they were both having this conversation about what was happening in various places, like schools and hospitals and things. So I was really researching personality disorders because I didn't know the first thing about it, but I was trying to work out what was wrong with my mum. And I came across all of this, and I think that the whole trans argument is a personality disorder.
It's
It's
very
all
narcissistic,
toxic.
isn't it?
Yeah, it's completely toxic. It
Hmm.
ticks a lot of the boxes of gaslight. Well, it's just a big gaslighting event, isn't it? It's like on
Yeah.
a grand, massive, huge scale of gaslighting. So that's where I started to listen to Kelly J. Kane when she was probably Posey Parker, and then I've watched everything really. I mean, I work for myself from home,
Yeah.
and I can listen to YouTube all day long if I wish. So I've learned quite
It's a
quite a lot.
benefit of working for yourself, of
Yeah,
being
I mean, I'm still
self-employed.
working. Yeah, I'm still
Uh-huh.
working, but I listen to true crime. I listen to things about, women's rights. I tend to not listen to that many crafty things, and I do like to visit different places and, where people walk through. So yeah, I've learned quite a lot from YouTube, and anyone who poo-poos what's on YouTube, silly, because there's a lot out there to be learned.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Mm.
I've learnt so much. So, as you probably have heard already, because I'm talking a lot about it, like I was focused on setting up my business and running my business, and I wasn't interested in politics. I just thought it was a load of men having a slanging match. Do you know what I mean? And it was all pantomime and drama.
Yeah,
And then locked the country down, and I was like, hang on a minute, what? What's this? And
no,
that's when I looked up and went, whoa. And then I discovered more and more on YouTube.
yeah, yeah. Well, I was already watching it, but I had a fear of needles, So I was delaying having anything like that, and I carried on delaying, and that was another thing that I was watching, people who were expressing from a doctor's point of view what
Yeah.
they thought was going on. So
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
was another facet. But the whole thing was quite enjoyable because I was like paid a little bit by the government, and I got to hang out in my garden all summer.
Yeah, you see, this is the
Right.
thing. Loads of people went along with it because it benefited them.
Oh
Um,
yeah. Oh, I didn't go along with it, but yeah, I did. I got told
and
off going in Tesco's with my daughter.
it benefited us as well, but I just knew it was wrong, and
Oh yeah, yeah. It was wrong, completely.
uh-huh,
So,
yeah.
yeah, I've
So
always
tell us about the first time you went to let women speak on your own then.
well, it was Newcastle. It's
Was
freezing
it? I was at
cold.
that one.
Yeah. Well, it was the first time it was anywhere reasonably close.
Uh-huh.
I walked up from the station and I could hear all this shouting, and never having been before, I started walking towards the wrong crowd. And then I realised what they were shouting. And I thought, oh, it's not that lot. Oh, it's these over here. Um, I I just enjoyed being there. I don't think I was very well. And I watched some others online, so I knew what was going to happen. And then oh, it's just liberating to be around amongst people who you can just say the truth to.
Yeah,
Um,
so did you meet anybody at that one?
the truth is really important to me, and integrity is really important to me. And I've got no, yes, but some of the stewards, what are they called, stewards? Which called
Yeah,
stewards? Some of them, yeah.
yeah,
And then I did sit at a table with a couple of other people talking. But they were mainly from down south.
right.
Um, and every time you go to let women speak, you see them, and then you see somebody else, and then you see somebody else. So I went to Glasgow, and I met some of the lead resistors,
Yeah.
and they were very welcoming because I'd booked to stay like the night before, and I said, oh, but some of the people were on the same train as me, and they said, we go to the pub the night before. Give me your number, and that'll be
Hmm.
where my number got passed on to.
Yeah.
So that was one of Kelly's team. So I went down to the pub on my own and bought a pint, wandered around the pub looking for them, and it was really busy. And then messaged them and they said, "Oh, we're not in that one. We've decided to go to another one." It was like trying to drink the drink really fast and then find the next place. And that was Glasgow. Yeah, Glasgow was. I still rate Glasgow sort of up there as the best.
Yeah, I was there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the people I already knew, the Leeds resistors. Oh no, I met them there. They've been staying in a hostel or something. So I communicate with them from time to time. But it was just great. I'm at the front with the camera with a daft hat on and the camera. That was me. So
Right.
that
Yeah,
was
I was
great.
quite near the back
Yeah,
and I couldn't hear anything.
yeah.
I heard
The
very little.
speakers were really good, weren't they? There was a
Yeah.
detransitioner there, and
A woman who'd been in prison as well, wasn't there? So I always share with
yeah,
people who don't understand what's going on. There's a video compilation being put together by Alice the journalist. That's the one, Alice the journalist. And I always share that because it's so powerful. Like she shows like the birds in the sky, and then she cuts to the speeches,
oh
and it's
yeah, I've watched
with
that.
the
Yeah, yeah.
music. It's really good.
They had
Yeah.
somebody had put boards together, haven't they, of all the male prisoners who reckon they were women and what
Was
they'd
that
done,
not the
and
Leeds
talked through them all.
Resistors? I think it was Leeds. Well, Leeds Resistors had a cardboard cutout of Katie Delatowski, who was the
Yeah,
6'5" man who
yeah,
was a sex offender who was put in a women's refuge with children, and they campaigned to get him out.
yeah,
But he was 6'5" and saying, "I'm a woman." Massive safeguarding breach.
yeah. Right, they've
So they
forgotten
were
what that
there.
is.
Yeah, but I'm
Yeah,
not sure if they were the doing. I remember all the other because that's one of the things that the people who support trans say, is that it's rare. There's not the like sex offenders don't happen, but that was highlighted quite boldly at that event, wasn't
It
it?
still is every day. I see a headline every day.
Yeah,
But child abusers will do anything to get to children.
yeah, they will.
And if it involves pretending they're a woman, that's what they're going to do.
Absolutely.
Which is kind of, I spoke, so after Glasgow, I went to Edinburgh. I'm probably mixing the two up a little bit in my head. I think Edinburgh was where they had the boards with all the men.
No, I think that was
Was it? No, it
Glasgow.
wasn't. It was Glasgow. It was Glasgow.
Yeah, it was
Let me think.
Glasgow.
Yeah, Edinburgh we were pending like sheep, weren't we?
Yeah, yeah.
But
Edinburgh was quite recent, wasn't it?
yeah, I get, just going on my own. I just get to the front and get to hear it all, and then I usually watch it just in case I've missed some. I'll
Yeah.
watch it again. But yeah, and then there was.
I'm usually at the front, but I usually go with Lindsay and Wendy, and they're usually at the back because Lindsay doesn't like being like enclosed. So I'm at the front because I want to hear what the women are
Oh
saying.
right.
She's always at the back, like having an interaction with the TRAs.
Yeah, I gathered that. I gathered that at Sheffield. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's definitely what happened at Sheffield. So do you want to talk about what happened at Sheffield? Because you weren't going to go, were you?
I really wasn't going to go. I'm not keen on Sheffield. I wasn't going to go at all, and then I got a little bit of encouragement from my husband. Not that I didn't want to speak, but he just said, "Well, you can go if you want. I'll drop you off like at the train station, make it easier, because otherwise I'd have a few connections to make." And so he took the dogs out, and I got on my phone and like looked at, and then all of you were all messaging, all the people I was in the chat with were all messaging saying, "I'm on this train, I'm at that train, I'm at the station." I thought, really? I've gone to like 3 on my own, been up to Scotland twice, and now I've got friends. I should be going. So I decided I would go to Sheffield. But the reason I didn't want to go to Sheffield was in my speech that I ended up doing that I didn't think I was going to be doing. So on the train down, I gave it a little bit of thought. And once the Let Women Speak going and Kelly's asking, anybody else like to speak? Anybody else? And I just thought, well, it's now or never, isn't it? I'm in the right place. So my speech was quite short, and I didn't know if it would come out right. I didn't plan what I was going to say at all. And well, yeah, it was kind of short and direct.
Yeah.
So the reason I didn't want to go to Sheffield is because my abuser was from Sheffield. From, well, 40 years ago now, really. 50, almost 50 years ago. So during them years, every time I've travelled anywhere down the country, see Sheffield, and I've had this thing, Sheffield. You can't go past the place, see the place name, and not think about
Yeah.
that person who was from Sheffield. So I stood up and said about my abuser was from Sheffield, and now I think of Sheffield, I just sort of smirked to myself because it's all good. It's all good.
Because you
I put my hand
spoke.
up and then I couldn't get it back down again. It had a life of its own. It was like, no, you're going to talk. So yeah, no regrets, and it wasn't difficult. And I can honestly say that the crowd, the baying crowd, didn't bother me at all. The thing that I saw when I was speaking was people's faces that I was speaking to. So when I said, my abuser came from Sheffield, all faces dropped, which is kind of like you don't want to make everybody upset. But yeah, I was told. So I didn't tell anybody about being abused for 10 years. I told a good friend when I was at college.
Yeah.
And then it was another 10 years before I did anything about it. And what I was really trying to do was sort my life out, because it wasn't fitting into place. Things weren't right. I was in a bad relationship. I had a bad relationship with my mum because she's completely unsupportive, entirely unsupportive. And I thought, well, if I do something about this, then this might help me and I might feel better. So I went into the police station, just walked into the police station, and they got a woman to speak, a woman to speak to me. But I wasn't actually necessarily bothered whether it was a woman or a man. But I suppose the way things are, yeah, it should have been a woman.
Yeah.
So I did give a statement. I think I might have been asked to try and remember anything else that I might not have said on that statement, and was given us maybe a time to do that. So I just walked in and told them. It was very easy. I was told that maybe it wouldn't go to court because it was just my allegations from 20 years previously. And I was told also that I had to tell my family. So I did tell my family. I went, unfortunately, well, it's sort of, the reason I was in Oldham, which is where I grew up, was because a friend had died young. So I'd gone down for a funeral. Imagine how depressing it was. And then I had to tell my family. My mum just asked questions, and my brother said me too. That was my brother as well.
Oh.
So because I was his little sister, he had to do something about it, because he never would have done. And I think a lot of men won't, and they don't, and it's easy, and you might not get the result that you want. But I think that everybody should do it. I'm so sick of seeing people being sent to prison in the 70s, in the 80s, who have obviously been abusing children all of their lives. That's the thing that really upsets me.
Because it continues if you don't speak out.
Yeah, something should be done about these people. And it seems that the way laws are going and the way sentencing is going, it does seem like it's becoming, even though you still see people going to prison, they don't go for very long, and it seems like it's being made more acceptable to me.
It is. And some people don't go to prison. And it's usually men, isn't it? We're saying people, but it's men.
Well, yeah, it usually is men. So this man, he was relocated to my town from Sheffield in his early 30s, I think. I have no idea why he was relocated. Who gets relocated and goes to live with an old lady at the local church? He was her lodger. It's not right. There's something wrong. There's either a cover up, or someone's told him to get out of Sheffield.
Right. And did you
know
this at the time? Did you know this at the time?
I knew he'd been relocated. Yeah, we knew it. Well, I don't know why I always knew where he was from.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was 9, but I always knew he was from there. He made very good friends with our family, and he was allowed to tuck me in. And on a weekly basis, he tucked me in. And my mum was suspicious. And at the time when she asked me, you see, a 9-year-old girl getting some, I think this story's going like backwards and forwards, but anyway, that's how I am. Yeah, he came on a weekly basis to our house to like flatter my mother and visit my bedroom. When she asked me, obviously groomed me and told me he'd been in so much trouble and the police had come and the police would be asking me questions and all of that. This is what I was told. So when she did ask me, I wasn't ready to say yes. So I just said no. Actually, my children, obviously through my experience, it never would have happened. But I could actually tell when my children were lying too.
Yeah. It's body language,
never
isn't it?
Yeah, she never asked me again. And I was playing with sort of, like not Barbie, Cindy. I had Action Girl. I remember a friend and me being in my bedroom playing with Action Man and Action Girl, messing about, like just being funny, like kissing, and thinking, if she knew what I'd done, so that was childhood gone.
So you were worried about your friend knowing that it had happened?
Well, she didn't know, and I was never going to tell her, but yeah, it was like, what would she think if she knew what I'd done? So I'd got to the thought of it had to stop. I didn't want it anymore. It had to stop. It was wrong. I'd realised, because when it started, I didn't know that it was wrong. I didn't know what it was. It used to tickle me, and then the tickle got further. It's kind of quite good to speak about it, really. So I told him I was either 9 or 10 or 11. I said, don't want to, don't like it. And he left, and that was it. So I had to deal with it myself.
That was really brave to say no to him.
I know, I had to.
Because I'm guessing that you would feel quite frightened of him.
He was very much a groomer, and he wasn't violent with me. He wasn't nasty. He was sort of quite gentle with me, as you could say.
Mm-hmm.
But not with my brother. Completely different with my brother. So I know that we met because of women's rights, but there's also probably just as many boys who are abused as girls. But then again, in different areas, boys aren't. In different cultures, boys aren't. But I don't think it's just girls. No way. And I don't know why they're not fussy. I have no idea. It's nothing to do with sexuality, is it, or being bi or anything like that. So my brother was forced into going ahead with this, really. We didn't really have an option. And we went to court. We went to Manchester Crown Court. And I think I actually got his sentencing wrong when I did my speech. He got 2 years for what he did to me, 2 years for what he did to my brother, to run concurrently. So he only really got 2 years, not 4. Yeah. And he probably only did 1 year. But I don't think I could do 1 year. Not for something like that. I could do 1 year for something that I believed in.
Yeah.
But not for an actual crime like that.
Well, it's... I can't even imagine doing that to a child. I just can't.
No. He was allowed to take me out for the day if something was happening, some fair, and that's not where he went. I wasn't raped, but he did try.
Mm-hmm.
So when we went to court, it was a case of he had his little fan club from the church, including my guide leaders, who he told that we had some kind of personal vendetta against him, and that was why. And he was completely innocent. And you know that human nature is to not go there. So they all believed him. And there was a little fan club on one side and us on the other side, because he decided to plead guilty to save us from having to stand in the witness stand. but I was ready to do it. So it was kind of a lesser charge as well. And that was what we were advised, so I took my advice. But my brother wasn't happy with the length of the sentence. And, well, I was just happy he was sent to prison.
Yeah. It's quite rare, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it is hard to prove.
Yeah. There was quite a lot of detail that I did remember, because you do remember quite a lot of detail with something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you carry on remember it. I know you can block things out, but no, I remember. I remember where I was stood when my mum asked me if anything was untoward.
Mm-hmm.
So when I walked into the court building, he was there with his solicitor or lawyer or whatever, and I felt empowered because he was there because I'd made him be there.
Yeah.
I was fine when I saw him. I was winning that one, and then so it was quite a short hearing. It didn't go on for very long because he pleaded guilty. There was a jury sitting there, and then well, I think I've seen the same courtroom on Coronation Street. So it's a modern entrance to the building when you go in, but the courtroom's all wood panelling and quite traditional and overbearing. And yeah, the judge sentenced him and sent him down and said, take him down.
So once you'd come forward, do you think that helped you move on from what happened?
Yes, and I think in a way I'd already moved on a little bit because I'd stopped it myself.
Yeah.
I'd sort of, because it is about power, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's partly about, it's not just about sex, it's about power.
Yeah.
If you're going to pick on children, it's got to be about power. So I took back my power. But I actually think the root of my problems, and I met my husband around that time. And we've been together for quite a while now, 20 odd years, and brought up 2 children and everything's hunky dory. But I still felt that something wasn't right with my life. And that was when I came about looking at personality disorders and things. And it's hard. So my mum was suspicious, so I couldn't pin it on her. But if it wasn't for her being easily flattered, and she was wrong to allow a man into my bedroom every week. So she's kind of a bit the root of my problems. But I've looked into things so much now that I don't tell her anything. I can't tell her anything. I can't confide in her, but I have a really good relationship with my daughter. I just limit what I tell my mum because she'll just keep hold of it for months, years, or whatever, and then fling it back at me. She would do this thing where she'd come for dinner. So at the time that I went to court, I also ended my relationship with a toxic bloke, and so that was me trying to sort my life out and make it right. And then I met my husband, who's wonderful. And where was I going with this? Oh, hang on. I forgot where I was going. I've lost me momentum.
That's okay.
Yeah, something to do with the ex. I just think that the ex was the reason I put up with the ex was because he treated me like my mum treated me. I know what I was going to say. So my mum would come to our house for dinner, and my lovely husband would make a lovely dinner for her. And then he'd go out because he likes bird watch. And when he went out, she'd start talking about my ex, who was awful. Oh, there were some good things about him. Oh, well, he was this and he was that. And then, it's just so disrespectful. And she'd eventually go home, and I'd wash up, and I'd be like slamming the pots about.
Yeah.
Because I'd just go over in my mind things that she'd said. And it was all like toying with me. So I don't expect anything from her now, so I'm fine.
Yeah, I think
I just
that
want to take
relationship
care of
that
them.
you have with your mother is quite a powerful influence on your life.
Yeah, and it took me 47 years to unravel it, for the penny to drop. So at the same time that I was unraveling that, I started listening to the women's issues, and there is the gaming gangs, and I did grow up in that area, but then when I moved away, we didn't have any of that culture up here really at all. It's now being shipped up here,
Yeah,
um, noticeably in the last year or two. But I did grow up around it, so I was kind of aware of how the men are.
yeah.
Yeah,
What
but
do you
I was
mean by
always,
that? Do you want to say a bit more about how the men are?
yeah, I can do. In the No, I can't remember how old I was. I may have been around 14, 15. I'm not sure if I was that old. I remember standing at a bus stop, waiting for the bus, obviously. And I had a mini skirt on, but it wasn't a mini skirt like you see these days. It was about 2 inches above my knees. And for a whole 10 minutes, a middle aged ethnic man was staring at me, completely staring at me, not just looking and wet, just
That's
really staring at
really
me.
uncomfortable, isn't it?
I was so uncomfortable. And having had my previous experience, I knew where it was coming from. That was very uncomfortable. And then when I was a bit older, I was walking home part of the way on my own, and I was a punk. So I had a load of makeup on, and my hair was stuck out all over the place. And I had probably a leather skirt and high heels and things. And this car went past, full of men, and slowed right down. And I thought, oh my goodness, they think I'm a lady of the night. And it went past a bit further down the road. And then I saw them go to turn round. And I just ran. I ran as fast as I've ever run in heels. And the road I had to run up was stone walls either side and trees, no houses. So I couldn't just run into somebody's garden. So I absolutely legged it as fast as possible and hid. I went in this gateway and there was a tree, and I thought, well, if they come in here, they'll see me. It was just, they were so predatory the way they went past, and they were all staring out the window at me, and then I saw it turn round, and I just thought they'd torment me and mess with me or something, I think. But I was very frightened, and I hid behind a big, huge rhododendron, I think it must have been, a massive bush. As soon as they'd gone past, I got back out and got near houses. And my friend now does a knitting magazine, Blocks, lives in the Manchester area, and he said they probably would have raped you. And I really hadn't thought about it, but now I'm older and I've seen and read what I have read, and I think, yeah, they might have, mightn't they? My instinct told me to run, and I just thank my previous self. I thank my younger self for following her instincts and running, because, and I've had to think about that very recently, since it was
Yeah.
said to me very recently, because it wasn't really what I thought, but it was a definite potential of what could have happened to me that night.
You see, and this is what kept you safe. It was your gut instinct. But
Yeah,
what society is telling women and girls and children is to, oh no, be kind, ignore, you don't be rude,
there is
don't
no
take any notice
reality.
of your instincts.
Yeah,
Uh-huh. That's
this
what's
man's a woman.
terrifying, isn't it? Yeah. Well, they don't say
Absolutely,
man, do they? This is a woman.
this is a woman. Yeah, I do think that there must be a percentage of children who are just not buying it, and they just won't have it. And the more the adults say, no, it's not true, it's like, don't trust it. I think that it's just another facet of parenting these days, isn't it? I met some really good parents actually in Sheffield who had, the mum had had a stall outside the school with leaflets on for other parents. When I came across this, my children weren't at school anymore. So my daughter did come across it at university, and I did have somebody, visit the house who said that she was Jane, not Jamie. Something, I don't know. She was called Jane, and she had a boyfriend, so her boyfriend was gay.
Yeah.
That was probably before I started to know about, to be a TERF. I am a TERF.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So places I go, I do mention it. And I do have things around when people come to me for work. I have things strategically placed so that people can pick up on it and have conversations with me about it if they so wish.
Yeah. So do they talk about, has that happened?
Not many.
Yeah. People are scared to talk about it, aren't they?
Do you think that women try to, we know that women try to be nice, but I think men are more turned on to this because they go down the pub and they talk about everything, or they go to the football and talk about everything, or they go to
But
the pub to
men know
talk
what
football.
men are like. Men know what men are like when women aren't in the room.
Yeah. The one person who sort of picked up on, I've got up on a shelf here, woman, adult, human, female on a little postcard. And the one person who's looked at that and said, "Oh, is that about, women being women?" I said, "Yeah, it is. It's man." Yeah. But I wear the t-shirts and things.
This is the thing. So I used to work, me and my husband used to work in the voluntary sector, and so this sort of thing was quite prevalent, shall we say. And I did go along with it, and I did use the language that of the cult, for want of a better way of putting it. But Ian never did. He just refused to. He just wouldn't do it. Mm-hmm.
I've never had to.
Yeah.
I've never had to. I haven't seen much of it actually in my day-to-day life.
I've seen a lot.
Except for when I go to the Let Women Speak, then you see it.
Yeah,
But
you
it's
really
a collection of young people who are very confused, interspersed with very creepy-looking old men, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, my abuser looked creepy.
Did he?
Yeah, if he'd have stood in the stand, and if I'd have stood in the stand, I know who they would have believed.
Yeah, but you didn't have to do that.
No, but if I'd have done that, he might have got longer.
Yeah. So do you regret that happened the way it did? Would you have rather have stood in the stand?
No, I don't have regrets, really.
Yeah.
It is what it is, and it worked out how it worked out. And it was
There's
awful
pros and
for them.
cons, isn't there?
Yeah. But I would have. Either way, really. Either way. He also married a woman with 2 children from the same church.
Oh dear.
His husband had died. And one of his children came up to us in the court afterwards and said, "I know you're not lying." So he's the only one. But he didn't do anything about it himself because he was obviously in a tricky situation.
Yeah. Well, he would have blown his whole life up, wouldn't he?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. I think it's people who keep quiet about it have regrets, not people who go and do something about it.
Yeah.
You've got to make it a positive.
Definitely. So do you feel like now you've come out and you've said you took your abuser to court and he got sentenced, and then you came to Sheffield and spoke about it? Did that really make you, are you pleased you did it?
I really am, yeah. I mean, it's a long time gap between.
Yeah.
30 odd years in between. My children are grown up, but I hadn't told my daughter because I didn't want him to cause any more pain, and I definitely didn't want him to hurt my daughter. But she had an idea because she'd overheard some argument between me and the mum. And I thought she might have an idea, and she did have an idea. And now we've spoken about it, and she's fine, and things are slotting into place about the way I've parented her. And apparently, I'd already told her if anything happened like that and I wasn't around, or if anything had happened, you just go into the police station and tell them. So
So you
I'd
knew what
already
to
told,
do.
in case something happened to me, I'd already given her instructions. I don't know when. I don't know how old she was, but I'd already said, you don't put up with this. You don't keep quiet. You don't make it a secret. You go and do something about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that does sound empowering and really positive. I'm
Yeah.
glad you came to Sheffield, and I'm glad you shared your story.
Yeah, I am. I really am. I just think Sheffield, I think, what did I do? Because I've seen so many women speak and not said anything. And the only thing, while I've been standing there not saying anything, the only thing that I had to say was really that. He was so clever in the manipulation and would do anything to get near children. So with all this gaslighting trans cult, there's young people being taken away from the parents mentally. A big wedge is being driven in between teenagers and the parents, and some of the people around must be very interested in that, and that's manipulation. You can be who you want to be. You can wear what you want to wear. After I'd been abused, I was a punk because I didn't want to be attractive to men. I wore loads of black eyeliner and I just wanted to be freaky because I didn't want to be lusted after. And that's probably why I was a bit outrageously dressed a lot of the time.
This is the thing, though. This is what's happening to young women
But now
now. So back
yeah,
then, you were a
you're
punk.
being told,
Now they're being trans, so
yeah,
that
you
they're
must
not
be
listed
something else.
after.
Yeah, yeah,
It's awful,
yeah.
isn't it? At least
I do
with
think they're
punk,
probably
you can take
hiding.
your eyeliner off, can't you?
Yeah. I used to dye my hair all different colours. I didn't even pierce my nose. I didn't do anything that wasn't reversible.
Hmm. I
But
bet you're
yeah,
glad, though, aren't you?
yeah, and I'm glad I was a punk too. Still am up
Yeah.
here.
Once a punk, never. You're always a punk.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
thank you for coming on and talking to me today. It's been a really interesting conversation, and I hope that you feel empowered sharing your story again.
yeah, I do. I just want more people to. I want more people to walk into police offices and say what's happened to them. I know people. I know people who don't want to bring shame on the family and things like that. And at the end of the day, you've got to look after yourself first. If
You
there's
do.
nobody there looking after you, and if people are saying, don't say that, don't do that, what about the family name? No, you look after yourself first, or you find good people around you who tell you positive things to do. And I just want more people to go and down to prison for doing these things and ruining people's lives. It what it does to people's lives. I mean, my abuse was probably quite mild towards some, which is maybe why I'm fine. Well, I think I am. Yeah, I just want more people to go and do something about it.
Because it gives you your power back.
Yeah, reclaim your power. Make them squirm. You had to squirm. Make them squirm. He had to squirm. I
Absolutely.
saw him squirm. I saw him walk down them steps with the prison officers, and and they got carted off. He went to strange ways.
Did he?
I grew up, I grew up in Oldham, not that far out of Manchester Centre, and from the park where I used to hang out with my friends. You could see Strange Ways Tower, quite a unique shape. So yeah, strange to went there.
Yeah,
I don't think
everyone
it's safe
knows
there.
the tower as well, don't they? Because it's
Yeah,
been on lots of
riots and things.
film. It's been on the telly loads, hasn't it?
Yeah, but you could see it from. I don't even know if you could see it from the house. So it's kind of like quite a good. Well, it's quite significant that it was the local prison, and yeah, just the whole thing. Great. That's the good side of it. Yeah, you didn't get away with it.
Yeah, really positive that you managed to stand up for yourself.
Yeah, and I think that if people are doing things like that, then they should be looking over the shoulders. I wouldn't want to
Definitely.
go through my life looking over my shoulder, thinking, are the police going to come round and knock on my door today, or tomorrow, or next week, or next month?
But
I
this
wouldn't
is the
want to live
thing,
like that.
though, that could happen to us because we're misgendering people and we're speaking the truth. It's just everything's turned on its head.
Misgendering is not misgendering, though, is it?
I know. Misgendering's correctly gendering. They're
Yeah,
misgendering.
yeah,
We're
yeah.
not.
Which is a complete twist, which is
Yeah,
gaslighting.
yeah, definitely. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about?
No, I think that's it. I think that's what I really want to come from doing this interview is to be positive so that people who are victims can see that there can be a positive outcome.
Yeah.
It's been a complicated unraveling, and a lot of it comes back to my mum and how she was completely flattered by this man in the first place, and how she was completely not there.
But that's what they do, isn't it? They
Yeah,
groom the
there's
whole
different
family.
people.
It's not just you.
Yeah, yeah, but yeah, I think she made it easy with the way she is, easily flattered, not suspicious. Well, then where she was, she didn't want to be. I don't know. But yeah, what I want to come from this interview is sort of positives and um, what I've already said, really, I think.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing your story. It's been really interesting to talk to you.
Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for coming.